None of you want to hear this, but I'm going to say it. All of a sudden, Gayoto was right. G2, 4th place summer, no worlds. Imagine that, bro. What would that even be? Everyone would lose their mind. Everyone would lose their mind, motherfucker. Lose their mind. Now, look, there's crazy copying because I have to have Fnatic get their shit together. Like, that's not. I made that sound like a small thing. Like, yeah, just Fnatic get their shit together. Question mark, question mark, question mark. G2 doesn't even make worlds. Kyoto was right all along. Like, yeah, obviously, number one's big. But my point is, it's not impossible anymore because you've seen MCoy looks really good. Casey's obviously fucking good. Fnatic, we'll see. They've at least got the players to do it. I'm interested to see. I'm also interested, actually, what will happen with G2 at MSI because I feel like if they have a shit split, I don't know where their head's going to be at, mate, because like I say, I actually think they're in one of the toughest spots you can be in, where your team's like good enough in certain areas that you're not going to radically change the squad. But I don't know what strength do you have? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. We're almost saying the other two teams have the other strengths. Like, Casey's really strong late in the team fight. MCoy's really good at building up a game against anyone, by the way, even better laners. I don't know what G2's strength is. As far as I can tell, it's like either one, play to Hans Sama, or two, actually let Skew1 do what he wants. But beyond that, like, notice how, a name we barely even mentioned. By the way, maybe that's the last topic on LEC we'll do. Bro, a lot of Caps narratives kind of don't exist this year. That whole thing of like, oh, you just have Caps and then you win. No. Oh, if you have Caps, like he'll always be clutching the fat. No. Sometimes he's just all right. By the way, he wasn't dog shit, but he's just all right. You know, he just kind of, like that was one of those ones where he is human. Like, what makes his career incredible is how many years he did this in a row. This is a down year, though. Now, I will say, I'll give him that credit for that baller Aaron Rodgers line from like 4 or 5 years ago. It's like a down year for Caps is still a fucking career year for anyone else. Like, you'd take this. Like, the joke is, if you're humanoid, I'll take that down year, man. I still fucking perform in the playoffs. So, yeah. But if you're Caps, this isn't like the past years where he was the most OP player. In fact, you'll notice, by the way, he's not even really in MVP conversations anymore. Like, he's kind of just been a bit quiet. So I think there's one thing I do need to see for summer. I want to see the real Caps in summer. You know, we've had 2 splits now. Let me see the real Caps. Come on. And I even want him to call his own number a bit, Yamato. Fuck playing like a Victor to play for the comp. I want you to call your number, get that Tristana or something and fucking carry a game. Come on. Give me some real Caps magic. Where is it? Where's the Caps magic?
Oh, it's like there was that one weekend, right? When they won back-to-back best of fives. Like that was like, ooh, Caps. Ooh, how did we forget about Caps? And like they beat Koi in that one. We beat Fnatic. I think that he had like the one Akali game against Fnatic that looked pretty ugly, but Caps looked good. And
yeah, true.
And the main thing is, like I mentioned it before, it's like how they played against Koi and then making into finals. It's like they just played like a completely different team, and that happened also in winter. So it's like, I feel like the Caps that we want is just waiting for his team to wake the fuck up. That's where I'm at. You know, I give Caps that much credit. I just think in that first series against Koi, like we actually had a good series from Labrov. We had Skew1 get busy with the Trundle and the Poppies, and they actually played a very side lane oriented game. And then it's like I'm at the point where I'm willing to entertain the conversation if G2, like in particular Labrov and Skew1, if they are just chokers. Like that's the conversation I'm willing to entertain, because I don't like having that conversation because I think it's like inherently silly, but the contrast, just looking at how they played in that series in comparison to the other one, and the same thing, what happened to them when they beat KC and then lost to KC, they were a completely different team. And, I think them going to MSI is so fortunate for them, because I think in a world where they went in dry to the World Championship, with like Labrov on the roster and like Skew1 on the roster, I think that would be like super, super rough. So even if they go to the World Championship and they get a feel for what it is to play internationals and play against these teams that you've been studying and looking up to for such a long time, you're not going to feel as overwhelmed when you go to the World Championship. Like, sure, Labrov has international experience, but come on, it was on a BDS that was suffering. Being in G2, there are expectations, and it's just a different ball game altogether. So they are very lucky that they get to go to MSI and probably get smacked around. But I think that's going to help them to Worlds. Oh, EWC as well, yeah. That's true.
That's true. Yeah, it's more experience. Yeah, and if anything, less pressure. It doesn't matter as a tournament in theory. It doesn't count towards anything. By the way, here's the difference. I'll give you that Labrov. We talked about that episode 2 weeks ago when he said about that final against Illisac. I do think Labrov is a choker, mate. I'm sorry. Like, I've just seen him too many years of his career. He's even choked in regular splits before, in my opinion. The difference is, I'm not at all ready to put that label on Skewmont yet. Bro, this guy's just made 2 finals. And by the way, think about what I just said. He didn't make it like Yike did. Yeah, but he had caps. He had caps on a down year, mate. Like, it wasn't carried by caps. Like, if anything, between the 2 players, I think Skewmont's played better than caps has this year. So, for Skewmont, look, yeah, you haven't won the championship yet, mate. You've still played really well generally. You're still bedding in. By the way, you've still got a whole extra split. You just get, level up a bit more in summer. By Worlds, it could be awesome. Like, that's not even Cope. I think he's actually just tracking really well. Also, he has, by the way, himself crazy expectations. Think about it, he's in the spot that fucking Yankos used to be in, mate. Like, this isn't a spot where you're allowed to just be a passenger and be a whatever player. Like, if you're the jungler of G2, there's a reason why people were, even though now they changed their tune, people were fine with Yike getting kicked from G2. People were like, you know what? He wasn't the absolute best, and we want the team G2 to win Worlds. That's the real expectation, fans, even though it's a ridiculous one. I mean, I would say to fans, how about make playoffs first, for fuck's sake? But they're still on some shit from 6 years ago, mate, where it's like, no, I want to win. It's like, well, yeah, I want lots of things too, but mine don't involve a time machine, for fuck's sake. So anyway, put that to one side. I think Skewmont's fine. I'm with you. His finals performances have been quiet, but everything before that's dope, mate. This guy's fucking, what a boss for a rookie. Remember, a pure rookie as well. Pure rookie. And like we said, it's not like he's a pure rookie saying, oh, tell me what to do, boss, I'm the dog. This guy's coming in trying to be like, no, I'm going to be the best jungler. Here's how I'm going to play. Here's what I want to do. Here's my picks. Like, I actually like that. I think I'm not scared for this game one at all. I am worried about Labrov though. I'll give you that one. I'm a bit nervous about that one. I've seen it happen too many times now.
But are we going to be in a world? Do you think Mickey is ever going to return to G2?
You know, the saddest thing of all, if you're a Fnatic fan, is I know what players are like here, Mato. And even though I can tell you, I won't speak for him, but I'll tell you the sense I got both from his interviews and from knowing him a little bit. I did get the sense that Mickey X took it a bit personal when they kicked him out of G2. When he did sort of think like, maybe he was thrown under the bus or people knew he was kicked at Worlds, so they didn't properly try and play around him. And if you know Mickey X, he is a guy who plays with all his heart and goes all in. And he gives everything to his lane teammate and he gives everything to his team and he'll go in. And that's why I always say, I actually think playing with Razork also makes Mickey X look worse sometimes. Because if Razork ints, Mickey X is going to be holding his hand going right in with him, mate. And they're just going to go, we're just going to send it together. But I'll tell you what, I know what pro players are like when they're in a desperate scenario, Yamato. And even though you might feel like you want to say to G2, well, fuck you. You said I should be kicked. Yeah, but if you could join tomorrow and make them awesome, you know what? Maybe we do. So unfortunately, the ultimate iniquity, if you're a Fnatic fan, would be that at the end of the year, yeah, they just kick Labrov. Mickey X comes back and then you've got shit at that point in time. They've just got everything, haven't they? And then, by the way, if I was both parties, G2 and Mickey, I'd do that move. Why wouldn't you? I mean, also, notice we're in a very different world where it was Yike and Mickey X. Bro, what about if it's Skewmont and Mickey X? That could be a really fucking good combo even. I could see that being fire. Like, so we're saying it like it's silly, but I think that's on the table at the end of the year. Let's see. And again, Fnatic, by the way, not a giant org in terms of money. If you give them a good offer, they probably have to take it. I think it would be fair.
Yep.
Obviously, you don't want to hear any of that if you're a Fnatic fan, though. The last thing you can even have, like in your world, you want to guarantee the bot lane stays. Then we'll figure out, which one of jungle and mid we lose, and then we're going to be a better team next year. But that's why, actually, by the way, I'll tell you how I'll tie that back in. That's why if you are Fnatic and grabs an upset, there's even more pressure for summer. Because if you can win summer, we can actually forget all this storyline. It's okay. Win summer, go to Worlds. It can all still be redeemed. But if you don't, maybe you don't even have Mickey X next year. Maybe it is a different mid, and maybe it's even an ERL player there that might not be as good. Who knows? But everything could change. Because I do think it's obvious they won't stick with this 5-man roster at the end of this year if they don't win. Like, the sheer fatigue on their own fans feels like you have to change. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you think. You have to do it because fans won't accept losing like this another year, mate. There'll be no Fnatic fans left.
But if for some reason like this Fnatic roster stays the same for the next year, it's kind of like, how like some in the past, not currently, like that US candidates, like when they were like trying to become presidents in the past, not now is a different landscape altogether, but they were like, so they had like visions of what they would change or whatever, and then it's like they come into office and their hair just turns gray, they just look like shit, like.
And then you're like, what about your campaign promises? You promised to go down this. And then they're like, well, circumstances changed, political alliances. And then nothing changes. I know what you mean. And
then maybe there's a Fnatic CIA at play, It's like, this is what all the issues we're dealing with. This is the military-industrial complex that is supporting Razork and Humanoid. So they need to keep playing, and you need to accept it, you need to sell it, and you need to eat it.
Yeah, basically, I think Yamato's point was Elon Musk didn't go far enough. What he needed to do was have Doge investigate what's going on, because is US aid secretly propping up Razork and Humanoid playing together to lower the chances of Europe in national competitions? Is this some sort of Team Liquid Cloud9 conspiracy, FlyQuest conspiracy? Are they somehow involved with the US government propping up a jungle mid duel that should be broken up? They should not be allowed to stay together. Secretly, it turns out Fnac just gets paid 300k a year to keep these guys in the lineup and pretend like they did something. You know what? Fucking keep changing coaches. Grabs, bring him back, put him in the squad. Tell him they didn't play enough solo queue. That's all the big CIA charade. The deep state keeping fucking LEC down. You bastards in America. Oh, by the way, we'll shift to talk about LTA now, but I will just throw this out there. I know in the modern day, Yamato, that the people who run teams aren't the ones that run the Twitter account, and the Twitter account tends to just be some Zoomer Gen Alpha kid who's like, lol, everything's a meme. But I saw FlyQuest tried to do that banter thing where they were talking about the fact that like JoJo's won LEC. And I want to just be like I was on Twitter, like, motherfucker, you're not talking about people importing from other regions. Like, you know, in FlyQuest, like, you barely have anyone American. Like, it's like a team full of non-American people, and then like two North Americans are allowed to be on the team. Like, what are you talking about, you fuck? But you're just all the Europeans carry your whole asses. What were you talking shit? See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.